But next up is John Stoody, who is the Vice President for Public and Governmental Relations for the Association of Oil Pipelines. And there's, whoops, did I lose control here? There it is. All right.
Thanks, Carl. One thing he did not mention is today is my birthday, so everyone wish me a happy birthday. Thank you. And for my present, you can all ask me only nice questions at the end of the presentation. So we're here to talk about change that will affect pipeline safety, and we're going to talk a little bit about legislative and regulatory. I'm going to talk about programmatic and industry-wide actions, what actions pipeline operators are taking to improve pipeline safety. And all of these things together will bring the change that we want to see in increased pipeline performance. So we've mentioned the federal legislation that passed this summer. Some of the high points from liquids pipeline perspective, we agreed with the Safety Trust. Carl testified before Congress. The mood of the Congress itself that major new mandates wouldn't be helpful. PHMSA had a lot on its plate, a lot of good work to do, and give them the space to finish those projects. One thing with the Emergency Order Authority that we saw the role we played, we wanted to ensure that this new authority would be used only to address imminent hazards. That was important to us, and it's a good thing in that perspective. And we agreed that information sharing can improve safety performance. So that program that was in there, it's a voluntary program. People will come together and share. That's a good thing. So we recognized the aviation industry's success. This is something that's worked in other places. The operators, in that case the airlines, the manufacturers, the workers, the mechanics, the unions, they all got together. They thought about safety, and that synergy helped provide safety solutions. So that was a good thing. We, as part of that, we have an internal pipeline safety sharing program. The executives this summer in June, we have a set of strategic initiatives. They elevated this initiative for next year to establish its programmatic features. We have a lot of activities I'll talk about later in my presentation, but emphasizing this area was one of our initiatives this summer. And then on the specific DOT group that's coming down the pike, the administrator referred to first meeting in December. We've already formed a team, a group to think about the issues on our end, what's important to us, what we need, how we'll interact. That team is up and running and has met and is doing its work. And its work will be the ground rules that are vital to success. You know, how do we ensure that everyone, or not ensure is the wrong word, but the goal of everyone in the room will be improved pipeline safety performance. Another thing the administrator mentioned was that culture of non-punitive reporting to encourage folks to share. Now that said, there need to be rules, right? You can't have a free zone, so things that are inappropriate would receive the appropriate punishment, but things that really ultimately the more important safety gain will be, value will be gained from that process. There is a framework to bring that in. Having trouble here. All right, so when we look at where are we, and we're going to talk about what actions that we're taking, but this is why we're taking which actions. And it's important to have the overall perspective. And this is the long-term view. The last 20 years we've talked about the integrity management program and where have we been since 1999. And when you look at incidents along the right-of-way, or another way to say is incidents that impact the public in the environment, they're down over 50% since 1999, and you can see the line there. That's mostly due to smart pig technology. It allows us to go out and proactively conduct inspections through the integrity management program, harness those ILI technology, and then get out there and when we see an issue, conduct preventative maintenance. And that allows us to address issues that we see on the reports before they actually become a pipeline safety problem. That said, it's rightful that everyone should point out that the gain was there at the beginning, and Whether you say that it's plateaued or depending on where you start the line, you could make the line go up if you wanted. Those are very legitimate concerns. You know, what have you done for us lately? Where are we now? That's important. And so we recognize we need to do more to resume that downward trend. So where are we recently? What is behind the numbers? And this is important as we think about what are the safety strategies that we need. What are the types of incidents we need to address? So what are the safety solutions we need to come up with? And when you break down the data, you look at the different incidents, we see that small incidents, those under 5 barrels, are up by 27%. So that's been one of the main drivers in recent uptick in overall incidents. But medium-sized incidents, 50 barrels or more, are down 12%. And large barrels, large-sized incidents, 500 barrels or more, are down by 32%. Now this is incidents per mile over 5 years. If you took out the per mile, you know, we have had growth. It would still be in the high 20s for the decrease. So that gives us a strategy of where we should put resources. We want to prioritize risk, but what we really want to do is protect the public and environment. So which are the incidents that have the biggest impact on the public and environment? How are we doing there, and what can we do about it? One more slide on the performance, and all of these are available to the public. They're on our website. At the end, I'll give you a link if you want to see these more. But this, you'll see, is 2015. There were approximately 450 incidents that we reported to PHMSA, and each one of those incidents is a little tick mark. It's kind of all together, but there's all 450 little ticks. And if you put what size they are, this is the graph that shows that. So you can see what we talked about, 44% are smaller than a barrel, 65% are smaller than 5 barrels, and then 5% are larger than 500 barrels. So those are both good and bad, right? It's good that most of the impact is very small. On the other hand, there's a lot of small incidents there, so we need programs that are targeted towards small incidents. And then even if it is 5% that are larger than 500, that's 5% too many, right? If our true goal, which it is 0 incidents. So what are we doing? And we'll start off with this general framework, and then I'll get into some specifics. But the way we think of our industry-wide safety efforts, AOPL works heavily with API and all of the pipeline safety efforts. Some of these are joint teams, some of these are API teams. But there's a broad culture of working together for safety improvement within the pipeline industry. And so you see some of the safety improvement teams. These are people that gather. Companies send their representatives. They volunteer their time, whether it's at the executive level. That's the Pipeline Safety Excellence Steering Committee. Craig's a member of that. PET is senior operations managers that discuss safety improvement. OTG, more operational folks, managers, integrity experts, cybernetics, leak detection is another way to think about that, public awareness, environment and health. So many different teams breaking off each different piece of safety performance improvement. We have industry-wide safety efforts that I'll talk about. We have sharing and learning sessions. PICS is an acronym I'll describe, tailgates, webinars. API is a long history and culture of putting out recommended practices. What are ways that we can share information and show and lead on how to improve safety, and then research and development, supporting innovation and new technology in particular. A few years ago, we brought this together as the Pipeline Safety Excellence Initiative, and some of the things are similar to what the administrator described in terms of transparency. And the data you saw before is available in this report. We put out this each year. It describes where are we. It puts out the data. Where have we made improvements? Where do we still face challenges? And from that, what are we doing about it? What's our strategic plan? What are the actual projects and programs that we're undertaking to accomplish these? This is available online. I'll show you where we can get at. One to mention it here is it's how we structure and lead our efforts. And you can see here some of the products of this. We call them RPs. That's our jargon, recommended practices. But they're kind of best practices. Industry gets together, and they address, and we've made an effort, and you see these are examples. In the last few years, we've had some profile incidents that you're all aware of. And there's been some learnings out of those. And there have been specific issues that we've needed to address out of those. What do we do about cracking? Certainly long seam cracks. How do we, They're less frequent than other types of incidents, but when they happen, they can be larger in size. So that's important for protecting the public and environment. We have a whole new recommended practice focusing on just cracking. Leak program management, you all, if you attend that session, will hear more about that program and how it fits into our suite of tools to deal with leaks. Pipeline safety management systems, again, we'll be sharing with that. We're very active in that, not only developing, but now implementing that emergency response. You can see all the different areas, and we're in a phase now where these products have been developed, and so we're being very aggressive supporting members. It's not good enough to just do the document. You have to show people, educate them that here are the new practices. Give them tools, make sure they understand, give them tools to help implement, whether it's a large company or a small company, assist them through that process. Here's a specific example hot off the press. So remember that graph that you saw that most of the incidents were very small and then there were a couple large ones? Well, another way to overlay that is where do those small incidents happen? Most are within operator facilities, within the fence line, at maybe a pump facility or at a tank farm. And so those are different types of problems. An incident that you might have heard about out in the right-of-way might be a long seam, the welding seam along the metal of the pipe opened up. That's cracking, we talked about that. That might happen out in the right-of-way, but if we only focused on that, we wouldn't address these smaller incidents because facility incidents deal with different types of issues, equipment problems, pumps, the little seal or the little gasket on a pump. Incorrect operation, maybe the person was filling the tank at the tank farm and the dial for operator error training was set to the wrong direction and it overflowed and that created an incident. Internal corrosion with the way the facilities are laid out. There may be a dead leg is what they call it, just one piece of pipe that doesn't go anywhere and the water sits in there and it corrodes. Those are different types of problems and solutions we need to address if we're going to tackle those small little ones that are really driving the recent increase in numbers. So API just put this out last week. It's a bulletin based on data. We went, there's a team, the data mining team, that actually went not just at the top level, 450, not just at the facilities, but they really probed down through the information. It's all available online. You could go yourself, PHMSA's database. The actual incident causes are explained, why it happened, and we analyzed that. And we actually looked, well, what really was the reason for this facility uptake? And we saw these types of things. And so this document provides recommendations. Hey, go out there and change your seals more often, or, I'm making that up. But whatever it is, that's the technical thing. The engineers went and saw what they needed to do. Mentioned PICS. This happened just in the last couple of weeks. Annually, we gather within the pipeline industry to share lessons learned from incidents or near misses. Here's a picture from that. Operators come, probably this size or larger. They get in the room and they share. We had this incident. Here are pictures. This is what the after-action report said. These are the learnings. And everyone else, that sharing allows all the other companies, if you wouldn't necessarily, maybe you read about it in the paper or you read news reports, but you didn't really hear what were the engineering reasons for that? What were the technical reasons that happened? That will allow us to have the technical solutions to prevent these in the future. So we have these sharing sessions. We also, API hosts the PICS program. API also does the quarterly webinars for folks, so it's not just once a year, it's periodically, and then there can be ad hoc sessions that come up if there's an important sharing. And then there, as part of information sharing, is a PIPES portal, Pipeline Industry Practical Experience Sharing. It'll be a central repository for this learnings. And I mentioned earlier, one of our strategic initiatives is not just to generate these learnings, but to provide the structure and the institution to actually manage them and send them out and make sure that people are aware of them. And that takes activity. You can't just have a passive database. You have to have that populated, and then the lessons have to be pushed out and summarized. So another way to look at this is how do these relate to PHMSA and NTSB? How is what we're doing similar to what the priorities of PHMSA and NTSB are? And here's kind of a summary. Obviously, this is me speaking for how we perceive them. You've heard about some of these today, but wanted to show you how what we're doing relates to the expectations of some of our stakeholders. Pipeline safety management systems, we participated in the co-development of the recommended practice, and now we have an aggressive industry implementation program. Administrator referenced the update we provided her, providing resources and tools to folks. Integrity management, that's the jargon for what are we doing about the pipe itself, cracking, leak detection, and we have the products on those. Data integration, we saw from some of the lessons learned in the major spills, people need to talk to each other more. They need to share data more so you can see the holistic value of those safety lessons. We have new data integration technical guidance. And then information sharing, that new program, we're ready to go. We've stood up our group, we're thinking about the issues, and we're ready to participate on those. Then lastly, some online resources. Obviously our main websites here, aopl.org and api.org. But you see also in those areas for information, for transparency, some of the slides and more. What are the long-term safety trends? How about incidents by location, incidents by cause, incidents by commodity? So if you want to get more information on that, we've made that available to you. You can go there, .org/safety, AOPL. And then also another big area is emergency response. I didn't talk about a lot today, but we have a broad set of tools for our emergency first responders. We've developed an online training portal for the fire and the emergency rescue personnel, especially those in rural locations that may not have the resources to attend training. We're bringing the training to them through this free online portal, and you see the website for that. Then down at the bottom, www.pipelinesms.org, you'll hear more about this. This is a place to get more information on that subject. Thank you.